earth shakes, when the bombs scream, until our last breath, every heartbeat. Pick up my sword, yeah, there's nothing I won't do. When you sound the alarms and the chaos is rising, leading the charge, I'm coming, I'll fight. I swear on the breath that I breathe, I'll never retreat, yeah, I'll be your army. Seeing monsters out your window. No, you can't sleep, you pretend though. You don't have to play the hero, 'cause I got you like you got me. When the earth shakes, when the bombs scream, until our last breath, every heartbeat. When your nightmares turn to real life and the ground's filled up with landmines, we will face it, standing side by side. You know I'll come running when you need. I'm coming. You
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and wherever you're watching in the world, welcome along to the first round of Esports Masters League, a league featured over several months to get us one winner. 10 teams will enter, but only one team can win. I'm looking forward to this one. My name is Kieran McGinley, and joining me in the commentary box for the first round, the opening round, is the lovely, the fantastic, the amazing Mr. James Head. James, it's the brand new start of a new season, a team-based system, not using the in-team games, obviously. We'll run through who we've got in our lineup tonight, but a new championship with these teams should provide us with some good racing.
Yeah, it's going to be great, I think, honestly, and good evening to everyone that is tuning in. Of course, we do have 10 teams ready to fight it out. Some that you might be familiar with, some that you might necessarily not be familiar with. We'll run through the driver lineup and everything in just a second. But I do like these introductions. They're definitely getting better from your point of view to give me a lot of compliments right at the start of the stream. But we should be complimenting the drivers.
Oh, absolutely, because we've got a wealth of experience, we've got a wealth of pace among us as well. Just to take you quickly through the teams and driver lineups, well, hopefully you'll be able to see them on your screen there with the team and the driver. We will, of course, confirm when we get into the lobby which drivers are driving, because as we all know, always know, in these team sports, there's normally last-minute drafts in, but we will confirm them when we get in. But as we can see, we've got TTG Esports, we've got Leonis Esports, Team Mentalism, FRL Esports, Team Norway Racing, GTZ Bulls, CPI Esports, S2V Esports, Asombic Esports, and F1 Friends Cup team. So obviously some names across the board there that you'll recognise, and some of them will be racing here tonight. Of course, each team is allowed one reserve, but as you can see, 4 teams have opted not to go for a reserve. So confident with both their drivers turning up and being available that they've not bothered with a reserve, at least for tonight. Don't forget as well, we do have merch available for you to buy on your screen there. Lovely array of hats, hoodies, t-shirts, and even a decal you can put onto your PS4, or maybe even a couple of months' time onto your PS5. Who knows? Go with the aesthetic of that. The links are, of course, in the description below to take you to the store there for all your buying needs. But we should probably talk about where we're racing first of all as well, and it is, of course, the Australian Grand Prix. Now, obviously, it's an interesting place to start this one, because not only does it coincide with actual racing, where it's started for many years over the past few seasons, but also it's an interesting challenge. It's a street circuit, but it doesn't feel like a street circuit until you're side by side with somebody.
Yeah, it really doesn't. I think it is one of those tracks that could be quite deceiving on the eye, because it is actually a street track. So obviously this is used for common use within the public domain. But we do have 18 minutes of qualifying, and we do have 15 or 16 corners, I should say, out on track, with the 3 DRS zones spreading out pretty much the overtaking opportunities. One down the start-finish straight, one down towards turn 3, and one down towards turn 13 as well. We normally see quite a lot of good battles and action here in Esports Masters League, and I think tonight will just be the same, especially with some of the new additions and some of the new teams that are in. Watch out for S2V in particular. I think they might have a cracking first round.
Well, as always with these team sports, these esports leagues, of course we have an alternate point scoring system. Winner gets 25 points, second place 22 points, third place gets 20 points, and it scales down in 2s and 1s all the way down to 20th place, scoring 1 point. There's no additional points on offer, so nothing, I believe, for the fastest lap of the race, because all the positions score points. It's a bit pointless adding on another one for fastest lap. So what it rewards is getting your car to the end of the race, to get it to the checkered flag, and that's so important. We've seen so many of these team events, James, where a team's lost out because not all of their drivers have made it to the checkered flag when they were not having the best of races.
Yeah, it is unfortunate from that perspective, but these guys have got to think that points are available for all positions. It's like we do in TTML as well, where the top 19 get points within the system. I think it's fantastic. It awards the teams, it awards the drivers for the hard work and determination that is going to be shown out on track. And honestly, it should be quite an interesting perspective to see, because obviously we've got a change in the format with 18 minutes worth of qualifying, 50% race distance as well. So it really is that league racing format, but brought into a team format. That's what makes the Esports Masters League so special.
Absolutely, and hopefully you're joining us, whichever team you're supporting tonight. Hopefully we're all supporters of some fantastic racing. I can't see it, but I've got my fingers crossed for some great action here tonight. And of course, we're just waiting, hopefully, for just a couple of drivers to join in, and then we will hopefully be counting down into the lobby tonight. But looking at some of those names, James, who would you say is your driver to keep an eye on?
There's plenty, I think, to keep an eye on. We know we've got CPI Connor, I think. He's a very quick driver around here. Won, actually, I think, in the last Esports Masters League that took place all the way back on the old games. So Connor had a really good experience, but there's so many quick guys in. Likes of Chapelelli on his day could be quite good. But the two guys in particular that I would like to focus on, not knowing much about them, Lucas Serra, who I think might have a good chance, and also S2V Yavi Vera. I think those two, in particular, I've seen some of their recent work, and it could be very interesting to see how they get on. And Pasty as well, possibly, could get on. Hopefully he won't end up like a cheese roll on, through turn 12. That's a terrible pun.
I didn't know where you were going with that one, but I was along for the ride. I was backing you all the way. Of course, Lucas Serra, though, is a reserve for F1 Friends Cup. So the other two drivers you've mentioned, Pasty there for Asombic Esports, and the other one you said CPI Connor, which no price for guessing which team he's a part of. He's definitely part of FRL, just so you know. But anyway, make sure you keep the chat respectful, but make sure you keep supporting your team. Give us some predictions of qualifying and through the race as well, and give us some insights. Maybe you're part of the team, maybe you're in that party chat. Give us some insights about what's going on, the strategy as well. I mentioned I saw the League One stream. A big shout out to the commentary team there. I believe that was Aiden and Daniel in the commentary box there. They did a fantastic job. And what Aiden said, which was really insightful, and I'm gonna absolutely steal it from him, is obviously this is dynamic weather as well. So anything can happen with the weather, and the teams have to react aptly in order to get the best out of their, well, I would say cars, but they're all equal.
Yeah, I think the dynamic weather could have a big influence here, especially in Australia, where we've had wet races before, we've had intermediate conditions before. It's going to be so interesting. And these drivers, I think, have got to prepare for all scenarios. They've got to prepare for it to be dry, to be changeable, and then to be wet to dry. It is going to be one of those races that I think, incorporating the traditional league racing format in, it's going to be one of these races, I think, that could really string out the teams early on in this series.
Yeah, absolutely, and it should give us some fantastic racing all the way through, and I'm thoroughly excited about getting tonight's action started. 10 teams, 2 drivers each in the lineups, and this should provide us with some great racing, and of course a chance for the first time these liveries to be produced. Now, I know for these team events they get people in the team to tirelessly make up the livery just for the event, and then it's used throughout. One thing to notice is that obviously there's quite a range of colours in the logos alone, so I'm wondering how much colour there's going to be on the grid. The liveries themselves as well is a fantastic part of the Esports Masters League. I'm looking forward to seeing them all on track.
Yeah, it's going to be similar, I think, to Joseph and his Technicolor Dreamcoat, I think, in terms of the colours that we're going to be seeing out on track. Every team will have a differentiation of their livery and of their team colours. Most of them try to go for their team colours, but there are some variations in there. It'll be very interesting to see. I've seen a couple of them, and they look really, really nice. It looks like we're about to get going now.
Yeah, absolutely. Counting down now. You can't see this, but we are now counting down into the lobby, ready for the first round of Esports Masters League. I'm looking forward to this one. I hope you are too, where we head to Albert Park in Melbourne, Victoria, for the Australian Grand Prix. And of course, if you haven't watched one of these streams before, you're in for a treat here as we now make our way in towards this lovely phase of it. That little part where we're all waiting for that qualifying session to begin. But let's not wait anymore. Without further ado, let's get things underway at the Australian Grand Prix. Well, here we are in Albert Park, Melbourne, Victoria for the Australian Grand Prix and the opening round of Esports Mini League Premier Division. A first season, an opening round. The nerves are going to be high anyway. Add on to the fact that you're racing for your team, and that compounds even more. We're heading to Albert Park for the first one, which was first opened in March 1996, having been originally opened in 1953. 16 corners, cover 5.3 kilometres, and as you can see, 3 DRS zones give us plenty of opportunities, I should say, to have that straight line speed. Limited overtaking opportunities, one in towards turn 3, which is the heaviest braking zone on the track, and then you've got also the dreaded chicane, that high speed chicane of turns 11 and 12, where if you put a stray tyre onto those curbings and get the bump just a little bit wrong, you can send your car spinning into the inside wall just on the run towards turn 13. Well, here we are then for qualifying here, and we're about to see some cars really get out onto the track here, and as you can see, just by the little strip of colour next to these drivers' names, you can already see it's going to be a very colourful grid, as there's lots of drivers heading out to be the first person out there in qualifying, and it looks like it's going to be Jorge in the lovely black and I can't quite see because the broadcast camera isn't working right now, but once I know, I'll be able to tell you what colour the design is. I don't know whether you could tell us, James.
Looks like there's a bit of blue on that car, actually.
There it is. There we go.
Oh, that's really nice.
It does look really nice. And like I said, seeing all the liveries out here is great in itself. Of course, that is Jorge Mir, which we have to go through all the list of drivers to find out, and that is for the F1 Friends Cup. So, green in their logo, but no sign of green on their car, unless you call that green. It's more of a turquoise to me. Oh, no, actually, I can see a shade of green in it. I can see a shade of green in it, but yeah, that's more of a turquoise, if anything. Obviously, James and I, if you can't tell, we're both men, so we have a very limited, this is one colour, this is the other. We don't have that range, so this is just blue, green, whatever. I'm shrugging my shoulders at this point.
No, honestly, some of the liveries that I'm looking through look really nice, and especially Jorge, I think, to be honest, we've been creating banners for my work, and it looks similar to what we've been creating in terms of like a bluey green. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, we'll ride on board. We'll ride on board with Jorge for a lap here around Albert Park as you now make your way on towards that start-finish straight for the short run down towards turn 1. DRS wide open. Obviously, only 2 detection points in this one, just on the entrance into 14, taking turn 1 there. You've really got to attack that one, but it is susceptible to understeer if you're not careful. Now onto the short run in towards turn 3. Heaviest braking point on the track, down into second gear and then up to third to make sure you limit the wheel spin in towards turn 4. Got to be careful about the understeer through there. Now going through turn 5, be careful of the curbs going through there. Very easy to unsettle the car at this track. In towards turn 6 and 7, where you're taking a lot of curve on the exit of 6 into 7, and then into that flying right-hander of turn 8, down towards turns 9 and 10. Another heavy braking zone. Try and attack that curve on the inside if you can to help you draw yourself in towards the apex. Now, through the gears then as you head towards that legendary or infamous turns 11 and 12. So easy to get this one wrong. Down to 6th gear, up to 7th, across the curbs, and that car took those curbs really, really well. A nice line through there from Jorge as he now makes his way down towards turn 13, braking hard in towards there. Through that right-hander down towards turn 14, past the detection point you can see for the start-finish straight and the run towards turn 3. Now in towards turn 15, a little bit of a lock-up there, and again, up to third gear to try and limit the wheel spin, and through turn 16, very easy to understeer there as we now make our way on towards that start-finish line for the first lap in Esports Masters League. It's a 1:20.7 from Jorge, which we know, we've seen in the past, that times can get quicker than that, James.
Yeah, times will definitely get quicker. We should see 1:19s quite easily. Lucas Serra's just coming around the final corner. He is invalidated on his lap. It would have been a 1:24 or 1:25 flat, actually, coming across the line. There's quite a few drivers picking up invalidations, looking through. Bjorn has just gone quicker with a 1:20 flat. Vettel around the final corner as well for TTG. It looks like he might go quickest out of everyone. Vettel across the line. Yeah, just about by 0.08 of a second.
Absolutely, and that red and white and black liveried car. I didn't see the black over the engine cover just there, but it is there as Johan now for Team Mentalism gets it now into the 1:19 to 1:19.5. Just before him, Gavin Teteru there for Livid, I believe that is, or sorry, the renamed Leonis team. now into the 120.007, so close to that 119, but that just proves to you that Gavin can absolutely get into those 119s if he puts on a fresh set of tyres.
Yeah, certainly, and I think we saw in TTML when we covered around here in Australia, we saw the improvement of the times as we went through the session, and we saw, I think it was a 1:19.2, if I'm not mistaken, for medium car left in Australia, so we're already getting towards that sort of end of the bargain right there. But Johan, 5 tenths ahead of everyone else, can that be beaten? It probably will, but have to wait and see.
Yeah, absolutely. There's still a couple of drivers out there right now. Nathan, meanwhile, the other Mentalism car, makes his way now on towards turn 11 and 12. And of course, there with the 2 drivers out on track, they've got to try and get the liveries as well similar as possible. They're flying there in through turn 12, not taking any liberties at all with that curb on the exit. I've fallen foul of that curb on the exit of turn 12. It is not a nice feeling when you head your way to the wall. And I believe, James, you were watching me as I did it.
Yes, I was. Unfortunately, that was in Division 2, of course. But Nathan is coming around the final corner. I think, honestly, he's going to go quicker than Johan here. So Nathan coming down towards the line, the Frenchman, what's he going to do? He goes quickest, 1:19.4, a tenth ahead of his teammate. Team Mentalism looked like they're on fire early on.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, we've only got 18 drivers at the moment, and we're just trying to work out which drivers aren't with us tonight. I believe we've got the... Oh, okay.
There's one.
I'm just trying to see on the other side of it. I don't think we've only. I think we've only got one TNR car, I believe. Is that right? Yes, because we've got Volokongan, yeah. But I can't see a Thomas in the lineup there,
no.
Unless there's a name change. So we're down one TNR car, and who was the other?
Bullet Boy for CPI.
So we're down a CPI car and down a TNR car. So 18 drivers, not bad. But obviously for CPI and for TNR, they're going to be a little bit short-handed because they've only got one driver setting the lap time. Here's Javibera for ST2V. And just as I say that, Torpedo has now joined in, so he's going to take over that TNR spot. So now we're just down a CPI driver. But yeah, S2V, always a team to watch here. The team based in Spain, making their way now in towards the next part there. You can see purple through Sector 1 already, going all the way through and in towards turns 9 and 10. Obviously here, Javibera is looking to try and get that pole position in a lovely... There's a purple and pink livery car there.
Yeah, it is purple and pink, and I think, to be honest, it suits their team very well. Fastest in the middle sector, 47.6. He flies through. Honestly, these guys are taking no liberties coming through turns 11 and 12. Javibera is on a fly with a lap here. Don't be surprised if this is quicker than Nathan.
Absolutely. Well, let's keep an eye on him as he now makes his way in towards turn 14 and then flying now in towards that harsh braking zone of turn 15. Looking to just try and get the car turned in now in towards turn 16. Flying through there, so confident with the car and its level of grip. Here comes Javibera across the line. It's a 1:19.0, 4 tenths quicker than Nathan there. Fantastic lap time from Javibera.
We are already nearly on the verge of a 1:18, which is, to be honest, something that I wasn't expecting in Premier. But Javibera is 4 tenths clear of Nathan with only half of qualifying gone, and his teammates still yet to set a lap as well. It could look pretty good, I think, for S2V, but we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, absolutely. You made that rhyme. That's you're a poet and you didn't even know it. Dantas, meanwhile, making his way now on towards turns 9 and 10 for GTZ as he now tries and gets that car in there. You can see there, they're taking liberties with the curb, but obviously racing drivers love to just try and push that limit there of what's punished and what isn't. And as you can see, Dantas here just trying to make the track as short as possible. He gets onto the grass in the middle of turns 11 and 12. That will definitely raise your heart rate just a little bit. He'll have lost a couple of tenths just on that mistake alone because he'll have lost out of momentum. But he's still on a flying lap here, making his way in through turn 14, onwards now towards turn 15. His teammate Chris Rock with a 1:20.8. Lucas Serra is now up into third place, a 1:19.4 from Lucas Serra in the F1 Friends Cup team. Here's Dantas then making his way towards the line, 1:21.7 from the GTZ car. So currently, after the 11 times that have been set, GTZ are 10th and 11th.
Yeah, GTZ obviously one of the brand new teams in, so we can't really clarify their pay. Volokongan is just coming towards the line as well for TNR. He's about to go fit with a 1:19.929, so nice stop there for the TNR man. But yeah, Chris Rock and Dantas could improve during the session. These guys obviously been thrown into the deep end as one of the new teams, but it will be very fascinating to see. But Javi Verad on top, Nathan second, with Sarah third, Johan in fourth, and is improving, coming around the final corner. Let's see what he can do, the Frenchman, as he now comes across the line for Team Mentalism. This will be second, I think. No, he doesn't even improve.
No, 300s down, almost 400s down on his best lap time so far for Johan. But I believe that's Nathan coming across the line to start a lap.
Yeah, Vettel as well has set the same lap time as Lucas Serra for third and fourth, so 1:19.458 for both of them. So nice lap there by the TTG man.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got Jorge Moore now making his way in through the last sector any moment now, as he now makes his way on towards turns 11 and 12. Of course, Jorge Moore in the F1 Friends Cup team making his way through, but he's invalidated through turn 11 there. I think that was Teteru there. Yes, it was Teteru setting a quicker lap time. That's put him now up to 5th place in that Leonis Esports car, as he now makes his way through onto the third row of the grid, and obviously in quite a hurry to get back to the pit lane.
Yeah, obviously with the time counting down, I mean, there's still more than 7 minutes left, so these guys could easily get 2 more laps in if they were quick enough. But Gavin for LR, or Leonis now, as they're known as, 300 some actually through the first sector. He could go for another lap here, to be honest. It'll be very intriguing. I'm going to keep an eye on this one.
Absolutely, keep your eye on it by all means. As we see here, I think that's the Sombic car, and it is, I believe, of Mickey making his way through. He's just let the S2V car of, I believe that was, it was either Jorpa or Javi Vera, and it was Jorpa making his way now in towards 11 and 12, chucking that car into 11, hoping it sticks. Oh, that was a bit of a hairy moment on the exit of turn 12 there for Jorpa, but he just about keeps it under wraps there in towards turn 13, now in towards turn 14. You can't say he's not pushing on this lap, flying through, in through 14, onwards now towards turn 15, and then finally through turn 16, keeping that car nice and poised and balanced through that final corner. A little bit of a moment on the exit there of 16, but he heads towards the line, and it's a 1:19.3 there from Jorpa, and obviously you can see there he was pushing hard, but just a couple of errors there maybe to iron out.
Yeah, Jorpa going third, just ahead of Gavin actually, who went fourth for LR, or Leonis now as they're known, of course. Keep on thinking they're known as LR. It's difficult, yeah, but Jorpa going third just ahead of him. 600th of a second improvement. 600th of a second separating them both actually out on track. It'll be very interesting to see how Schiaparelli gets on. He's just started a lap.
Yeah, absolutely, and that is of course for the FRL Esports team, as he now makes his way through, and I think the two cars here are helping each other. Either that or they're racing each other in qualifying already. They're so eager to get this season started. They're not going to wait the 5 minutes of qualifying. They're going to race now.
Yeah, I think Schiaparelli might be giving Micheluzzi a little bit of a toll. Micheluzzi 24.9. It could have been the case actually that Micheluzzi just came off a lap and is following him through back towards the pit lane to try and get another 2 laps in. That's for Pedro just getting out of the way to the right hand side. Schiaparelli can set a good improvement though. He hasn't set a lap just yet. Very, very tedious coming out of turn 10, but it's not looking too bad. I think Micheluzzi actually just lost his front wing.
Right, here comes Mickey then around the final corner then as he makes his way towards that start-finish line. Let's see what sort of lap time he's going to set. It's P10, a 1:19.9.
Yeah, Schiaparelli just having a right moment coming through turns 11 and 12 then. As I say...
Oh, he's around again! Through 13, and he's taken a huge bite out of that front wing, and unfortunately for him he'll have to come back to the pit lane to get that nose changed. Still no time. We're waiting for 3 drivers to set a lap time. Connor, Torpedro, I like that, Torpedro, that's a great name, and Schiaparelli still waiting for lap times from them both there, and obviously I believe Torpedro there for TNR is a last minute call up as he now flies his way in towards turn 1, and he's doing some rallycross in towards turn 2 there, and obviously that might have to be an abandoned lap. Maybe he'll turn down all the settings, all the fuel, all the ERS deployment, and maybe just try and save his tyres to go again, because now it's by the time he gets back to the pits, change his tyres and get back out there again, he won't have enough time for another lap.
No, he won't, and I think honestly it's going to be quite tight for him to come out the pit lane. It's about a 45-second turnaround from actually getting into the pit box and then getting back out. pretty much. And he's just set an invalid lap there. Javi Vera, by the way, has just improved. 118.7, 4 tenths ahead of Nathan. First driver into the 118s, I should say. They went into the 117s, then goodness me, they must have had a jetpack underneath them.
They found a shortcut around the circuit that we haven't discovered yet. That's what it will be. Volokongan now is making his way around the final corner. Up into 5th, then into 6th, just try and control that wheel spin as he heads towards the line. What's this lap time going to be? It's a 1:19.6. It's an improvement by just over 2.5 tenths, but no improvement on position. He stays P9.
Yeah, beautifully Norwegian themed livery there, I've got to say, as well on Volokongan's car. Looks very nice indeed. He does go 9th, he does improve by an 83 tenths of a second, as you say. Johan hasn't set an improvement just yet. Be interesting to see how he gets on, as well as some of the other guys. But Javi Vera, currently in a class of his own out in front.
I was just watching Chris Rock there as he makes his way in towards the pit lane. He was on for a decent lap out there, but unfortunately he's run wide on the exit of turn 14, taken too much liberty with the curb, and it has invalidated his lap time. Vettel also into the pit lane driving for the TTG Esports team, and obviously now has to try and find his way back into the pit lane. It's got to be a very quick turnaround. He's only got around 60 seconds before he has to come back out again.
Yeah, Vettel's going to be cutting it really tight, I think. Nathan, by the way, his teammate, has just came out down into turn 1, and he's just invalidated through turn 1.
Straight away, so that's probably going to be it from him, unless he saves all those tyres and fuels. Now there's going to be a little bit of confusion here with one of the S2V cars. I think that is Javi Vera trying to make his way through in towards turn 3, but he's running side by side already, going all the way through. Maybe at quarter pace of what they normally would through there, but I think the message has gone across there that Nathan isn't on a flying lap anymore, and Volokongan there in the pit lane has retired. Obviously, he feels there's not enough time for him to get back out there.
Yeah, Lucas Serra actually and Javi Vera are playing a little bit of a game here with Nathan. Nathan obviously on a down lap, but it looks like Javi Vera wants to get a little bit of toe, and in fact both of them have just cut the chicane coming through 9 and 10. So that's why they want to get ahead of Nathan, trying to get the best lap in. They could have easily, though, gone this and next lap invalidated.
Absolutely. Meanwhile, Connor for CPI here, the only CPI car out there, is yet to set a lap time on the board as he now makes his way in towards turns 9 and 10. This really has to be the lap of his life here as he makes his way now all the way in towards the corner with no number towards turns 11 and 12 here, dropping down to 7th. Try and keep the momentum there. Back end wanted to squirm on him, managed to gather it up as he heads his way now down towards turn 13. So easy. The car wants to get away from you in towards turn 12, especially if you're too heavy with that loud pedal. Onwards now towards turn 15, and then eventually around the final corner of turn 16. He won't take the checkered flag, but I'll tell you what, he'll try and get himself up the order here. What's this lap time going to be from Connor as he crosses the line? P3, a 1:19.3 from the CPI car, and having gone through the whole qualifying session with not setting a lap time, he's just put it onto the second row, just like that.
Yeah, Connor has gone 9,000 quicker with Yorpa, but I'm on field with Yorpa now, coming through the final 2 corners, and he's 3 tenths up, coming through this middle sector, now into the final sector, now through the final corner. Yorpa just a little bit tedious coming out of the final 2 corners, but he's going to go second with this lap, I think, across the line, and he does, and he's a 10th behind his team at SCV, dominant out in front on the front row.
Absolutely, so far so good for them. Meanwhile, Nathan has invalidated his lap time. Johan heads towards the line, also invalidated, so they'll both take the checkered flag and they won't have an opportunity to improve. Meanwhile, pole sitter in Javi Vera is now making his way in towards the penultimate corner and now making his way around the final corner through turn 16 and onwards towards that start-finish line. Can our current pole sitter find any more time to give? Yes, he can. 400ths of a second, and now he's on a 1:18.721 there as he looks to just try and extend his lead at the top of the qualifying standings. We've got a lot of red cars out there as Nathan, as Dantas as well, gets onto the grass there all the way through, and I think that's Mickey there who was a little bit caught up in that one, not going to improve his lap time as he takes that checkered flag now, as we've got Mikulitsi also on a down lap here as he makes his way back towards the pit lane. So many red cars out there, you don't know who's who at the moment, but I'm on board with Chris Rock, who's invalidated his lap time. We've got Torpedro making his way towards the line late into qualifying, but a 1:25.0 is the best he can do on that lap. Must have made a mistake out there at some point, but I'm looking around the field and I don't think there's really anybody on a flying lap, so I'm going to say here, and I'm going to call it, that Javi Vera is the pole sitter for the first round of Esports Masters League.
Yeah, everyone else into the pit lane. I was right on board actually with Holgate, just in behind for Pedro. He went to improve up a couple of positions up to 15th with a 120.1, 2 tenths off Nathan, so not too bad. But did say SCV could be the ones to watch, and look what's happened. A James Head prediction going right so far.
I don't believe you. I absolutely don't believe you. Not a chance. But that will wrap up the first round of qualifying. Of course, we've got a 50% race up and coming. And obviously, with dynamic weather, we have seen rain in Australia before, more often in Adelaide rather than in Melbourne, but it has happened. And you never know when that rain is going to hit in Australia. But what we can tell you for certain, it is an S2V 1-2, and they'll be very, very happy with that so far. Javi Vera is a 10th up on his teammate, 4 tenths up on any other driver around him. That driver happens to be from Team Mentalism in Nathan, so looking good for S2V right now.
Yeah, really impressed by their qualifying times and hopefully more of the same in the race.
Absolutely. So to take you through the qualifying standings, then Javi Vera makes it a 1-2 alongside Jorpa as they lock out the front row. Nathan in 3rd place with Connor in 4th with his one and only lap in the session. Teteru there in 5th place with Pasti in 6th. Lucas Serra in 7th with Vettel in 8th. Johan 9th and Bjorn rounds out the top 10. It's Walakongan in 11th. Mikulitsi in 12th. Mickey in 13th. Nathan 14th. Jorge in 15th. Chris Rock 16th. Dantas in 17th. Torpedro in 18th. And Chapalele did not set a lap time in that session. Of course, the top 10 you've just seen there, from Javi Vera all the way down to Bjorn, all have to start the race on the tyre they set their fastest lap in qualifying. Anyone outside of the top 10 can start on whatever fresh tyres they like. So should be pretty interesting. And obviously, and if you're in 11th or 12th place, sometimes you can have that first stint advantage over 10th and 9th place in theory.
In theory, yeah, and I think the one stop is quite easy to pull around here as well. Obviously, the drivers on the set of softs will probably be going in lap 6, lap 7, I would say, under normal racing conditions, obviously, and those that are going on to a set of mediums will probably go to around about halfway, maybe stick on a set of hards, maybe last longer, go on to a set of softs to around lap 20 for a set of mediums, then onto a set of softs. Going to be so interesting, though, with the strategies in call. And the 5th down to 9th, by the way, I think it was Gavin down to Johan, separated by, I think it was something like 700th of a second. So that is very close in qualifying.
Absolutely, that is as close as it gets, really, isn't it? You can't really make it much closer than if you were to just sort of place the cars there yourselves. But, well, we're looking at it. At the moment, it is dry. I'm sort of back in the one stop here. I think lots of drivers will be looking to try and extend that soft stint as much as possible, maybe even into lap 9 and 10, and then put on a set of hard tyres to get to the end of the race. It is a viable strategy. You can try and do soft to medium, but the medium tyres will wear away, especially towards the end of the race. You get into puncture territory at that point, so it's going to be a very risky strategy, but I'm looking forward to seeing what these drivers can do. We've had qualifying. That's over and done with. That's always a quarter of the story, I always say, but at the moment now we're looking at the race here with S2V leading the way here. Just looking outside of the top 10, there you go, that's exactly what I said. Soft to hards there looking like for Javi Vera. Of course, that's given away his strategy to anybody watching, but that's what I was expecting to see. Soft to hards with pitting in around about lap 9 or 10 and then putting on the hards to get to the end of the race. Looking outside of the top 10, obviously we already know what tyres the lead 10 are starting on, but outside of the top 10, 11th place Volokongan and 15th place Jorge Mer. They're both starting on a set of the soft tyres. Everybody else outside of the top 10 starting on the medium tyres. So they're looking, I think, to go on to the mediums and then at some point, maybe lap 13, 14, probably pitting for a set of hard tyres, maybe just to try and get that on-track advantage and hope for a safety car in that sort of period of the race. So we'll have to wait and see. But James, I think it's time for one of your predictions, isn't it?
Oh, is it?
I think so.
You've sprung this on me already?
Well, I mean, you've sprung it on me once, and I'm not going to let you forget it.
But yeah, I think, honestly, looking down further down the field, all of the guys on a set of mediums, as you say, will probably go to around halfway, then go on to a set of hard compound tyres. So it's going to be really interesting. And for my prediction, I'm going to go on S2V1 too. I'm going to be boring as anything, and I'm going to go Happy Vera for the win, Paul Power for second, and for third, Pasty. I think he's got better race pace than qualifying pace. I think he might go end to third.
Well, that's it then. We're hinging everything on James Head's predictions here. So remember that. An S2V 1-2 with Pasty finishing in third place. He's got to get there from sixth place on the grid. But now the cars will be lining up to get this series underway. The Esports Masters League premiere. We've already had the division below us starting at 7 o'clock. Now it's time for the big boys to come out and play as they now make their way on towards that grid. All 19 spots are up for grabs here, so points are on the board if you can get to the checker flag. That's what that means with no 20th place. If you get to the checker flag, you're scoring points. It's as simple as that as we await now the signal to start this race. It is 5 red lights. We're racing in Melbourne. What are the starts like? It's a great start there from Hopper as he looks to try and take advantage of the initially slow to start Habibera, but they now make their way in towards turn 1, and that's 3 or 4 wide going in towards turn 1 there. I think they've just about made it all the way through. We've got a car in the background there, Lucas Serra, who's into the wall, as well as Torpedro, who's been caught up in it as well, covered by yellow flags right now. I think Lucas Serra there's got away with no damage whatsoever, yeah, I think whilst the standings refresh, obviously, it's going to be a little bit difficult to see who's who and what's what out there. But at the moment, I can see there the S2V cars are leading the way, and my leaderboard has packed up at the moment. But that looks to me like Johan was caught up in it. So that's the man who was in the wall early on in this race. But that looks to me like it's Habibera in the lead of this race, with Corpa in second, Nathan holding on to third as well, Connor in fourth. Bjorn has got his way up to fifth place. A great start from him in the initial start of this race. Running on board with Vettel here as he tries to close in on Bjorn, but he's got Volokongan right behind him as we now make our way through. Gavin Teteru, not a great start from him. We've got Shapalele into the wall there, as it looks like he's got damage on the front wing as well, as cars try and pile their way through in towards turn 13 there, as Shapalele just has to keep his wits about him going all the way through. He's got front wing damage there, as that is Pasty, who's all the way down the order now, all the way down in 17th place. He's also got front wing damage, so expect that pit lane to be rife and busy going through there. But Habibera leads the first lap, and yellow flags there, safety car deployed, and Shapalele's out.
Crash into the pit wall.
Oh no, that's not good at all. As we now make our way through the final corner. Yeah, that's it. He's crashed into the pit wall, then reset onto track. So a safety car has been deployed then, and unfortunately we are down an FRL car. So the only other FRL car I can see out there would be Mikulitsi out there in 10th place. So he's their sole remainder of any points in this race. Unfortunate to see from Shapalele. Bit of a hectic start, especially all the way down the field. Lots of drivers though getting a change of front wing, which will benefit them because they'll be able to rejoin at the back of the pack. Okay, they've got a pit stop on them, but they're on fresh tyres now. But at the moment it is still an S2V 1-2.
Yeah, just to speak about something that happened down towards turn 4 as well, I think it was either Chris Rock or Dantas, one of the two GTZ drivers, and Pasty, who got involved in a little bit of a collision. So Pasty, that is why he's all the way back down in 17th. I think they were trying to go 2 or 3 wide, possibly down into turn 4. Left side end plate damage to Pasty, he got that repaired, and he's trying to stick to his delta time as much as possible down there in 17th position. Not great for my prediction.
Not great at all, but 2/3 of your predictions so far has been okay. Here comes the S2V cars into the pit. Now, what are they planning here? Getting rid of these soft tyres and going on to a different set. Lots of drivers in. Nathan's also in. Connor's stayed out. Bjorn is in as well. Volokongan into the pits. Lots of drivers in to, to change some tyres onto a new strategy. Surely this can't be hard tyres to the end of the race. Surely not.
I don't think it will be. I think it'll be hards to softs possibly toward the end of the race. We should see them make another pit stop. But obviously under the safety car, it is going to decrease the tyre wear that these guys will be suffering out on track. Everyone that has came in have gone on to a set of harder compounded tyres. So expect them, I think, to come on to a set of soft compounded tyres around lap 20, 21, and then a 7 or 8 lap dash towards the end of the race on a set of softs. It makes sense to me.
Yeah, absolutely. Meanwhile then, Connor, having not pitted in this race, leads the way ahead of Vettel, Nathan and Jorge Mir there, as they now file their way in towards turns 6 and 7, I should say, before that long right-hander of turn 8. But it's a chance here to just sort of take a breather and understand what has happened so far. So what we're seeing out there is a lot of drivers who've come into the pits to put on a set of hard tyres. Pasty, meanwhile, has come into the pit, put on a set of mediums, so he can't make those go to the end. I wonder if this is going to be 2 medium stints that will take him to the end of this race.
Yeah, I think with Pasty, certainly I think it's going to be 2 set of medium compound tyres towards the end of the race. He's got pretty much everyone from 9th downwards who've already been into the pits on a set of hard compound tyres. So he's on an advantage earlier on in the short term around here. It should be, hopefully, that Pasty will get past some of these guys, make his way back in, but then he has to go on to a set of mediums and then has to make up the ground again. It's going to be really interesting. Johan, by the way, has made another pit stop. He's gone on to a set of hard compound tyres as well. He did initially put on softs under the safety car, so he's made 2 pit stops. Team Mentalism, 1 driver up there in net P2, with Nathan currently in 10th, and Johan's race already going a little bit downhill, but the safety car certainly will bring, I think, the best out of him later on in the race.
Yeah, and what that safety car has done now is only 3 drivers are on the soft tyres at the moment. Connor, Vettel and Jorge Mir. Everybody else, though, is on a set of other tyres. You've got Nathan, Chris Rock, Dantas, Mickey and Torpedro, as well as Pasty, all on the medium tyres. And everyone we haven't mentioned so far, which I believe is half the field, are now on a set of hard tyres. So interesting to see then. They should be able to get those hard tyres to the end of the race. Possibly. It's going to be nip and tuck though, especially in the last few laps. I think they'll be hoping for a safety car towards the end of this one.
I think, honestly, anybody going on to a set of hard compound tyres might have misjudged this slightly. If there's another safety car, then fair play. I think they can probably get to the end of the race. But I think hard tyres have got about a wear life of about 24, 25 laps around here. So anybody that's went on, they've obviously been on these tyres now for 1 lap. It's going to be really intriguing to see if they can get them to the end. If they do, it's going to be, 80-85% tyres worn at least towards the end of the race.
Yeah, and it will be interesting to see, as you say, them seeing if they can attempt to get to the end of this race. But then again, James, they're probably out on track for a reason, and that's probably the reason why we're in the commentary box. Who knows what could happen? This could have all perfectly fallen into their plan to go on a set of hard tyres. I'm expecting the safety car to be in this lap, but we won't really know until we're past and beyond the chicane, really. That's when the safety car lights are normally turned off, so we should know, and we do now, safety car will be in this lap. So Connor now becomes the effective leader of the pack, and he has to wait until the safety car is back in the pit lane before he can bolt it. He can bolt it whenever he likes at that point, but there can't be any overtaking until you're past the start-finish line. It's getting very bunched up there as he's trying to warm up the tyres there, and that's going to cause a little bit of a Constantina effect. But of course, as long as he keeps a constant pace, it's okay. Now making his way slowly, tentatively, in towards turn 13, and just trying to get some last-minute heat into the tyres and brakes here as he's trying to use as much of the track as possible. Of course, he's got to wait for the safety car to get into the pit lane, which I believe it is now. And look at this now. Connor has gone for it now, in towards 15, and he's got a little bit of oversteer on the exit of 15. Now going through turn 16. Doesn't seem to have affected him too much, though, as we now make our way towards the start-finish line. We're back under green flag racing on lap number 5. Connor leads the way ahead of Vettel there, and we've got lots of drivers squirming and looking for positions here. Javi Verde looking for a move up the inside of Torpedro in towards turn 1. Torpedro makes a mistake, and Javi Verde will try and make his way through. Yellow flags, though, in turn 1. I wonder if that move was done under yellow flags. I'm not too sure. But anyway, we carry on. Bjorn, meanwhile, right behind Nathan then in towards turn number 3. And that's Torpedro, unfortunately, making a mistake. Obviously, a very, very late call in this race. And he's doing well to try and stick it out in 11th place. I wonder how he can get on for the rest of the race. Jorge, though, down in P13. This is not where we wanted to be. And at the moment, he's got to try and find a way past this traffic. Meanwhile, his teammate, Javi Verde, is looking for moves as well. Volokongan goes around the outside. So too does Jorpa on Torpedro. Meanwhile, then Javi Vera is going side by side now with Dantas. Through they go. He's got the move done. So too has Nathan. He's followed him through there in towards 11 and 12 there. And they've both got the move done then on Dantas, who has been mugged there for 2 positions.
Yeah, possibly 3 actually, because Bjorn is on the back of this as well for Leonis. Dantas, by the way, was the cause of the yellow flags through turn 1. He made a mistake and actually put the corner down through turn 2. That's why we saw the yellow flag there. But Bjorn is on the back of Dantas. Dantas really struggling for GTZ. And now Bjorn ran the outside. Dantas should keep on going. Or Nathan just nearly loses it as well at the final corner, but Bjorn is through.
Yeah, Dantas is really struggling out there. Meanwhile, here comes Volokongan for an easy move down the start-finish straight. Now down towards turn 1. We've got lots of cars going side by side, up and down the order as we now file our way in towards turn 1 once again. Torpedro's all the way now down to P15. He is struggling out there, but of course he was a last-minute call-up. Jorpa, meanwhile, goes around the outside of Dantas in towards turn 3. He now moves up to 11th place.
Yeah, Passy getting through on Torpedro as well. Nathan's out. Nathan is out. That is through
That's
turn
a big
4
crash.
on the exit.
Yeah, it looks like he's got onto the curb and another safety car deployed for that one in a dangerous location. And whether or not that was caused by a collision, I think that was caused by the curb. I think he's been too greedy with the curb on exit, and that has meant that he spun up the rear tyres and hit the wall. So another safety car then in this opening round, our second one of the night. But both very valid reasons to deploy a safety car, I think.
Yeah, Nathan, I think, actually got caught on the outside curb, as you say, and that has been the chief sufferer. I've seen it too many times where somebody loses it through turn 5 on that outside curb. It is the worst thing that could possibly happen to a driver. I feel sorry for Nathan. He was running a net P2 at the time as well, so that's even more frustrating. What this does, though, is bring about a very interesting decision for these front guys. Connor is in, Vettel is in, Nathan also in. Jorge Mir is staying out on a set of soft compound tyre, so he will lead the pack under the safety car. Chris Rock and I think Mickey also are staying out as well. Chris Rock actually into the pits.
So let's see then as they make their way now, file their way down the start-finish straight. Of course, Javi Vera will take those positions, no questions asked. Oh, we've got a spinner at the back.
Dantas has spun coming around the final corner, and he's hit the pit wall by the looks as well. He's got into the pit lane, luckily. I think he's just lost up by himself. 5-second penalty, spin in the pit lane, and now he has to change his front wing. Yeah,
and it's a very late call by the team as well to bring him in, so they'll have to change that front wing, put on a new set of tyres, and that should get him to the end of the race. So, as you were saying, James, those front runners, this is a blessing in disguise for them, because now they get to put on the hard tyres and try and go to the end of the race. While it does take away from the strategy of this race, what it does promote is the drivers to go racing towards the end of this race. Jorge Mir and Mickey now, the only 2 drivers not on a set of hard tyres, so we're expecting them into the pits sooner rather than later, especially Jorge Mir, because the pit window really opens for people outside of the top 10, and around lap 11 to lap 12, maybe lap 13, but even then that's pushing it. So we're already halfway through his stint, more than that. So when does he pit in? I think, honestly, this is more of a team tactics sort of decision. I think Jorge is there to protect Lucas Serra and to try and hold some of the pack up so he can try and get some overtakes done further down the field. He's in 8th place at the minute, Lucas Serra, so he's already been into the pit lane. And Mickey as well, as Connor has left the session. Hopefully he can join back. But Mickey is another one that's interestingly placed, I think, for the team more than anything else, because Pasty, I think, is his teammate, if I'm not mistaken. So Pasty has just been in for a fresh set of hard compounder tyres. He could be another one that is utilised to the team's deployment ahead to try and hold some of these guys up behind. Yeah, absolutely. As we're seeing there, Michelizzi making his way through. He's up to P7 at the moment. The 2 S2V cars have not done too bad of a job. Javi Vera is in the lead of this one. Meanwhile, that is Mickey, who's now come into the pit lane, and Jorge Mir stays out. So Mickey now decided this is the time to go onto a set of hard tyres. A bit of a late call, because now he's going to be pretty much at the back of the field, but he will be on a set of hard tyres. Maybe he feels he's not confident in the tyre wear and just wanted to make that late call as late as possible. As you can see there, he will rejoin in P17, but I think he'll have the confidence now that he can push to the end of the race and know that these tyres are being good nick. Yeah, I think anybody that is obviously pitted underneath this second safety car is at more of an advantage to get the tyres to the end, rather than the guys that haven't, or that have pitted under the first safety car, the likes of Javi Vera, Bjorn,
Volakongan, who are currently net P1, 2 and 3 with Jorge Mir obviously leading out in front. But what bears to mind is, are these guys hoping to get to the end, or are they hoping for another safety car? Because if another safety car is deployed, honestly, I think it could change up the whole race entirely, and you will see drivers onto a set of medium compounded tyres under the next safety car to get to the end of the race. It can be done.
It can be done, but the question is, will it be done?
Hasty spun under the safety car and has collected Torpedro. Not sure what happened there. And Torpedro actually got a 5-second penalty with Dantas. I wonder if Dantas drove because of Gavin ahead of him. LR Gavin has left the session, which we haven't seen, so he obviously is an AI car. And Dantas, I think, has probably put the brakes on. Pasty's went into the back of him. Torpedro's, because of the failing Golson system, Torpedro's gone, and safety car's in this lap.
Car is in this lap then, so as we now make our way through, obviously Jorge will bunch up the pack then to try and get some heat into the tyres. In fact, he's not hanging around here. He's might actually catch up with the safety car going through, but I think he's had one safety car period. He just wants to get this restarted as quickly as possible. I think we all do at this point, but he's almost hurrying up the safety car himself. He's going as quickly as he possibly can, which is causing the limiter on his car to deploy. So that's why everybody gets slowed down there. But Jorge Mir is not wanting to hang around whatsoever as he now makes his way around the final corner and onwards now towards that start-finish straight. He'll have to be in the lead once they reach that start-finish line. Javi Vera can then try again. Here we go then. Green flag racing once again. 21 laps to go here in Melbourne. And it's Jorge Mir who leads the race here ahead of Javi Vera. Meanwhile then, further behind, we've got Bjorn and Horba battling away there for P4. Meanwhile, we've got Lucas Serra and Mikulidze trying to make our way now down in towards turn 3 there. Serra trying around the outside, but no way through for him. And Mikulidze just about holds on to that position. Meanwhile, Dantas gets a move done then. And obviously that's on Connor, who is currently a ghost car. So hopefully he can rejoin to this session as quickly as possible, because that great advantage he had is quickly dissipating at a rate of knots. Meanwhile, Lucas Serra looking for a move around the outside of Mikulidze. Down in towards turn 9 now. Mikulidze's got the inside line. No way through for Lucas Serra, or is there? Because, they've come together. There's a Mentalism car caught up in it as well, as they bunched up there on the exit of turn number 10. And that is Lucas Mikulidze, trying to get his way round and back onto the track. And another safety car.
Another safety car. And Horpa's out the race through turn 12.
And he's lost it.
Is out the race, and he's lost it on the curb.
He's definitely lost it on the curb. And the third safety car of the night. And I have to say, all three of them are very valid reasons for safety cars. You can't...
And this is... Yeah, go on.
Well, I was going to say, you can't not justify these safety cars. I mean, they're being deployed for exactly the right reasons. It's just that we've had 3 incidents in such a short space of time.
Yeah, 3 incidents that are worthy, I think, obviously, for the safety car to come out. And what I was going to say is this now breaks apart pretty much what I said a lap or 2 ago, with everyone now starting to come back into the pit lane. Are they going to go into a set of medium compounded tyres? 18, 19 laps can and will be done on these tyres, and it looks like most of the guys that are pitting in, the likes of Lucas Serra, actually, with a bit of front wing damage when he came into the pit lane there. Everyone that has came in looking like they're swapping onto a set of medium compounded tyres. These are the guys to watch out for later on in the race, because anybody ahead, apart from Chris Rock, Mickey, Pasty, and possibly Connor as well, those guys may be the ones to watch to get to the end. Javi Vera, Volakongan and the likes might go splash and dash onto a set of softs to the end of this race. But this is massively interesting strategic-wise now.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, with the racing being limited, obviously drivers here will be a little bit on edge as we head in towards the last couple of laps especially. They'll have been felt that most of this race has been under the safety car. In fact, I have to confirm that the safety car is the leader of this race here in Melbourne. It's done just about enough laps to be classed as the leader, in all honesty. Maybe it's only 2 laps down, but still. But obviously, as I say, 3 perfectly valid reasons for safety cars. I have to say, the safety car doesn't get deployed for no reason anymore, and it doesn't hold back if it feels that it's not safe out there. So that's it. We get a safety car, and to me, perfectly valid reason.
Yeah, very valid reason. Obviously, it gives Javi Vera, who did qualify on pole position, now that lead of the race, and he will control the safety car once that comes into the pit lane. It will be next lap around, it will come in, so we will get racing once again with, what, 18 laps to go towards the end of the race. Javi Vera, Volakongen in first and second, Bjorn in third. Gotta say, though, my prediction, apart from, well, Hopal's now at the race, my prediction's now gone completely and utterly out the window. Hasty, though, has got up into 7th. As a result of the spin under the last safety car, he is now in 7th. And has there been an incident there with Pedro and Michalizzi? There's a desync going on between them both.
I think so, yeah, but hopefully that'll sort itself out in the laps to come. But we are on lap 11 here of the first round of the Esports Masters League Premier Class, and it is lap 11. I think we have, looking at my maths here, have we got 18 laps to go? Yeah, we've got 18 laps to go. Roundabout? No, 19. It is 19 laps to go. Yeah, okay. 19 laps to go, 18 and a bit if you're picky. Yeah, I always... The counting up part from the lap counter is the one that catches me out every time, because the way I work it out is you have to count up to 1 additional lap, and that makes it all okay. So you've actually got to count up to 30, because lap 29 is counted as a lap, and it... Yeah, anyway, I'm talking rubbish. It's just how I do it.
Think of it this way, we're currently on lap 12, not lap 11.
Well, I don't know about that, because we're on lap 11. That logic falls flat, I'm afraid, James.
That's my maths for you.
Well, there you go. But Javi Vera, it's almost like he's just trying to pull side by side with the virtual Bird Minelander to say, hurry up, I want to get racing, and as we all do, but that could encourage drivers to maybe go for moves that maybe weren't on beforehand. And you know, when we get 3 safety cars, you can see drivers get a little bit desperate to get some sort of racing under their belt.
Yeah, it will affect their mentality, I think, as well. With there being 3 safety cars out, there's been a bit of a stop-start sort of thing. Safety car obviously going to come in this lap. Now Javi Vera has got to control this pace to his T and to everybody else so they don't hit into each other, which we've seen a couple of occasions, 5-second time penalties awarded. There's a bit of a gap between Johan and Bjorn at the minute. That just needs to close up. But Javi Vera setting the pace for the safety car very well. And I think he'll go on the exit of turn 15.
I think you're absolutely right there, but yeah, the S2V car is now trying to get some heat into the tyres here. Well, what we will say, as Lucas Serra gets a 5-second penalty, what we will say is that S2V12 is no longer on the card, so it's going to encourage other teams to really get their heads down and try and get as many points as possible. You can see there that safety car has only just come into the pit lane, so Javi Vera is having to hold on to that pace. Now he can floor it on towards the start-finish line. Volakongen, meanwhile, is looking to try and make some moves. We're back under green flag racing once again. 3rd time's the charm, they say. Javi Vera now in towards turn 1. Volakongen following behind. Bjorn is in 3rd place there with Johan in 4th. It is Chris Rock in 5th there. Meanwhile, Jorge Mir is looking to get some moves done. Meanwhile, Gavin, of course, he's the disconnected car at the moment, is falling down the order. Lucas Serra, will he try a move? Well, remember, CPI Connor is a disconnected car as well, so drivers will file their way past that car. It's sooner rather than later. Meanwhile then, Johan is under pressure from Chris Rock and Mickey then as we make our way in towards turns 8.
Yeah, Lucas Serra and Jorge having a good fight as well through turn 5. It actually looked like Lucas Serra was trying to go around the outside of Jorge. They're both teammates. They shouldn't really be fighting. They want to score as many points as possible. They've got to work together if they want to get something out of this. They're on a set of medium. Lucas Serra needed to lose the control of the car. But they're on a set of medium, so it's going to be really interesting. Michalizzi on the back of Dantas. Ran the outside through the left-handed kink. Coming up towards turn 11, he's got the move done. He's moving up to 11th.
Yeah, Dantas is really struggling with that car. Whether it's a setup or a setup issue or something, he does not look completely happy with that car. As we see now, Torpedro and, oh, that's Vettel coming together then in towards turn 13. A little bit of a connection issue there, which means they both got away with that unscathed.
Yeah, so Pedro just lagging back a little bit. That's the desync in operation. Vettel trying to go around the outside of him, not through the final corner. Surely not. If he gets the traction out of here, tell you what, could be a terrific move from the TTG man. And side by side, running down the stretch to Pedro on the inside line, Vettel on the outside line. Somebody's going to have to blink, and it's Vettel. And I think he's actually going to try and go around the outside to Pedro. Pedro just cuts him off. Great racing between them both. Lucas Serra is through on Jorge Mir, further down the field as well. But Pedro Thuni's up to 13th and he hangs on to the position, but by the skin of his teeth, and Vettel is all over the back of him.
Absolutely. Meanwhile, further up the field, Mickey is looking on the back of Chris Rock here for P5 in this race. Don't forget as well, it's an alternate point scoring system. Every position matters, and that's why it's really important that you get to the start-finish line. Mickey, meanwhile, right on the back of Chris Rock here as we make our way in towards turn 10, and then we find our way on towards 11 and 12. Meanwhile, Johan here is looking to make life difficult here for Bjorn in the Leonis car, making our way now in towards the second part of that chicane. Habibera is absolutely running away with this one ahead of Olakonga. 2 seconds already, and we're only on the second lap of this green flag restart.
Yep, and that will mean DRS will be enabled next lap around. So it will only be enabled actually on the back straight through turns 12 and into turn 13, the braking zone down there. So that is where the DRS will be enabled. But Johan all over the back of Bjorn here. This is a P3 and for the Leonis man, very hard to say. The Leonis man and the Mentalist team are now fighting out. Team Mentalism, I should say. Lucas Serra is right on the back of Passy coming through turn 1. Not close enough for a move. I don't think Johan's close enough for a move either on Bjorn. No, he's not. But Lucas Serra is down the inside on Passy. Oh, Passy! Very late on the brakes as well. Lucas Serra gets through on a set of mediums. Job done. 7th position.
Yeah, absolutely. He's got Mickey now ahead of him as we make our way through turn 5. A little bit of a squirrely moment there through turn 5, but he managed to gather it up now in towards turns 6 and 7. He's now trying to look on the back of Mickey here. Of course, he's the highest running medium tyre runner right now, so he's going to try and make his way and forge his way through this field one by one. But, of course, he can't take too much life out of the tyres, because if he wants to make this strategy work, he's got to get those tyres to the end now.
Yeah, he's got to be aware as well. Obviously, those mediums might last towards the end of the race. Johan picks up a 3-second arm penalty coming through. Lucas Serra on the back of Mickey. He's looking close enough, but he's not looking too close to the back of Mickey, and he will hang on probably down the straight. Mickey just breaking out of DRS range as well on Chris Rock. Vettel is through on Dantas. That was down into the braking zone, I think, at turn 13, so he gets that move done. But Lucas Serra all over the back of Mickey. It should be a case of job done, but very cool wrecks out in the final corner. Gives Johan a run on Bjorn and through.
Yep, easy as that. Johan gets the move done ahead of Bjorn. He's now up into 3rd place, and of course he gets that little bit of DRS run down towards turn 3, does the Mentalism car, so he's able to pull out the gap even further. Meanwhile, Jorge Mir is looking at the back of Pasti here, down in towards turn 3, but I don't think Jorge had the DRS there, so he wasn't able to try and pull alongside. Lucas Serra, meanwhile, is looking to make life difficult for the driver there, Mickey, ahead of him. So I want to see how this one goes down, because the two of them here will be in a locked dead heat battle. Mickey will not want to let Lucas Serra through, because he knows he's got the tyre advantage, the car behind.
Looks to me as well as if Chris Rock might be coming back to these guys as well. Oh, Lucas Serra, right moment coming out of turn 9 and 10. Judy going to give Passy the run through turn 11, or on the run towards turn 11. Passy is through by the looks, and he's up into 7th position. Lucas Serra just getting a little bit caught on the curve. He's still on the back of him. Could he turn this from a negative into a positive? I think he might, trying to go around the outside. He went towards turn 13, very late on the brakes. Passy on the inside, a little bit side-by-side contact. Passy had the car ahead going into the corner. Make of that what you will.
Another yellow flag. We've got someone off in that 3rd sector there. It's Torpedro, who's having a little bit of a moment there, but I think he dropped it on the exit of turn 12. He's got away with only front wing damage on that left-hand side. Sorry. Having a look at that front wing, actually it doesn't look like there's any damage whatsoever, so he's got away with that one. Very lucky driver indeed. I can tell you from a matter of fact that it is almost impossible to avoid the wall there, so the fact that he's kept it out of the wall with no damage, very commendable. Means he can rejoin, and he doesn't have to visit the pit lane again. Simple as that.
Yeah, he's probably, I think, to be honest, hit the wall side on rather than with the front wing, so that is actually quite positive. From Pedro's perspective, he is ahead of 2 AI cars in Connor and Gavin. If they were to rejoin, obviously they'd be in a prime position to possibly get those moves done. But with some of the glitches that have been happening, I think they're trying to back this off as late as possible, and obviously they hopefully will get the glitches fixed. But Mickey on the back of Chris Rock. Chris Rock was coming back to Mickey. He is now once again coming back to Mickey, coming through the middle sector. Mickey really flying through this middle sector. I think it's going to be a case possibly of job done down towards turn 13. If he's close enough, will he risk it for chocolate biscuit? No, he doesn't. Jorge Mir will try to go around the outside of Passy. Oh, and Passy forces him off track. and Lucas Serra now gets through. So, ring one teammate goes, the other comes back.
Absolutely, and they've swapped again. Lucas Serra now finds himself behind Pasti. I think Pasti's making it clear that he doesn't want them to overtake out of 13 there. Lucas Serra has a huge moment out of turn 16 there. He's able to once again gather that car up and carry on, but he is really pushing that car, and the car in certain traction zones is not having it.
Yeah, this hot battling as well, as Mickey's going to dive it down the inside of Chris Rock, possibly. No, he doesn't. Chris Rock hangs on for 5th position. But yeah, Mickey really struggling now with those tyres, just picking up a little bit of gravel. But the one that I'm going to watch really out of this group is Nathan. Nathan has now left onto the back of these guys. Same with Michelizzi, but Nathan has been one of those slow burners in this race for TTG. He has been one of those guys that's kept it clean, kept it out of trouble, and now with the guys battling ahead, this is the prime opportunity for him to strike. He will be the one to watch later on in the race.
Absolutely, we've got 13 laps to go, 12 and a bit if you are picky. On lap number 17, Javi Verda. If you're wondering why you haven't seen him in a while, that's because he's leading by 5 seconds ahead of Olokongan in 2nd place there. Michelizzi, meanwhile, is looking to make life difficult, and that's Mickey who's had a moment there. Now, has he kept that out of the wall? Yes, he has. Well, he went into the wall, but he's kept all 4 wheels on the wagon. I think that's front wing damage on the... No, again. No. Doesn't look like there's any damage at all. So I'm just misleading you again.
Yeah, he ended up actually reverse way round, pretty much hitting the side on the left-hand side of the car. So if there was any damage, it would be on the left-hand side of the car where he would have hit that. Johan, by the way, on the back of Olokongan down towards turn 1 and 2. Olokongan now under real pressure from the team mentalism car of Johan, and Johan trying to get onto the back of Olokongan. He dives it down the inside, trying to challenge it down and in it, Daniel Ricciardo. Olokongan, though, having none of it. Down the inside through turn 5. Can he get the move done? No, Olokongan just about hangs on, but here comes Bjorn.
Here comes Bjorn indeed, looking to try and take advantage of this battling pair as they now make their way through. Meanwhile, Pasti still in 6th place, defending for everything it's worth there in that car, up into 6th place at the moment in the Asombic car. Obviously, he's trying to get that car as long as possible with Mickey's spin there. Obviously, he's now the highest running Asombic car in that field, so he'll be looking to try and basically keep that position for as long as possible. Meanwhile, we're on board with Johan here as he's on the back of Olokongan here, now making our way in towards turn 13 once again. He's got that DRS open, but not the ERS. He doesn't feel comfortable making a move right now. Meanwhile, Lucas Serra once again opting for a move around the outside when Pasti's made it perfectly clear he's not having it around the outside at 13.
Yeah, Pasti and Lucas Serra, I think this is going to really boil down into a real feisty battle, I think, out on track. This has the hallmarks of possibly Vettel, Hamilton, if it once was. But Dantas affected the 3-second time penalty. Here comes Johan down the inside of Olokongan, trying to get the move done. The Frenchman through and he's up into 2nd. Olokongan had absolutely no chance. Could get Bjorn a run here down towards turn 3. Olokongan is a sitting duck, possibly, with Bjorn right in behind him. And he doesn't decide to go for the move. Olokongan stays 3rd. Pasti down the inside of Chris Rock. Makes it look pretty easy down the inside, very late on the brakes. Pasti not really hanging around with these moves. Heavy, hard-hitting moves, but he's up into 5th, and Lucas Serra's just followed him through. Yeah,
left it very late there, did Pasti, but he got the move done and moves ahead now into 5th place. He saw there that Chris Rock there having a little bit of issue going through there. Meanwhile, Jorge Mir looks for a move down towards turn 9. Not often overtaking opportunity, this one, as we make our way through, beautiful. But he dives it down the inside in towards 9, gets the move done. Nathan, meanwhile, looking to try and get the better exit out of the corner to try and take advantage of Rock's a little bit of a sketchy exit there out of turn 10, but couldn't quite do it. Now into 11 and 12. And as you can see here, getting onto that curb there. So sketchy, that curb. If you're not on the right amount of throttle there, you can really send the car into a spin. Lucas Serra and Pasti looking for moves here. Yellow flags in sector 1. That's Dantas who's had a moment there at turn 3, and he's able to keep going. And Nathan, meanwhile, has now left the session.
Lucas Serra's had a right moment coming out the final corner. How on earth he did not spin that is absolutely beyond me. Lucas Serra is hanging on for grim life with that setup. Honestly, here comes Nathan. down the inside of Chris Rock, trying to get the move done. Nathan not hanging around, he's through and he's up into 8th position. Could give Micheluzzi a run as well. Oh, Chris Rock very, very shaky coming out of turns 1 and 2. And now Micheluzzi is right on the back of him. Here comes the FOL man down the inside. They're really not hanging around with these moves, are they? Micheluzzi through and he's into 9th position. Hard-hitting racing in Esports Masters League.
Absolutely. So 10 laps to go, 9 and a bit if you are picky. Javi Verde leads the way by almost 8 seconds. Meanwhile, Vettel is looking on the back of Chris Rock here. Chris Rock is really struggling with those tyres at the moment. Maybe they're slightly overheated and he's trying to cool them down again. Vettel, meanwhile, in towards turns 9 and 10. Very close to the back of Chris Rock there, trying to get some moves done. As we now make our way in towards 11 and 12 once again. Nathan now picking up a 3-second time penalty. That's something we'll have to watch out for towards the end of this race and see what's actually going to happen. Lucas Serra, meanwhile, launching it down the inside of Pasti there, down the inside in towards 13. He's finally, Lucas Serra, got past Pasti.
He has outdone him for chips there, honestly. Lucas Serra threw up the 5th. Pasti's struggling, I think, with those hards, maybe coming back to bite him slightly. Those mediums really coming into play, and now up comes his teammate, Jorge Mir, who was on the back of Pasti. This is the 6th and 7th currently out on track. We've got Vettel on the back of Chris Rock as well, running down towards turn 1. Not going to be close enough for the move just yet, but only one of those races, I think, that is going to be really intriguing out on track. Vettel is through on Chris Rock for 10th.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think Chris Rock made that too much of a battle, to be honest with you. I think he'd rather just let Vettel go to try and focus on his own race here and see if he can get that car to the end of the race. Meanwhile, Jorge is now on the back of Pasti, looking to try and pick up where his teammate left off and try and get past Pasti. Try saying that 3 times quickly. Past Pasti. It's difficult to do. You never know. Volokongan, meanwhile, has stayed within around a second of Johan for 2nd place here on those hard tyres. We saw Johan here make light work. Yellow flags now in Sector 3 going through, and I think that is Dantas once again as he now just gets right into the pit lane. Front wing damage on that car, and that will be him into the pits to replace that front wing.
Yeah, on relatively fresh softs as well, so obviously he's just been losing the car out on track with GCZ man now down into plumb last position, but if he keeps going actually, he might get awarded the points for 16th position. I'm not sure about the AI cars ahead. I don't think he'll get awarded the points, and neither for 14th or 15th, but he certainly would get awarded the points for 16th. It's the fairest thing to do.
Yeah, so obviously he'll try and make it to the end. Obviously the drivers that don't finish the race as a ghost car or anything. Whoa. Meanwhile, Jorge, I'm just going to interrupt myself as he makes the move down towards turn 3, but he's outbraked himself and he's gone into the gravel, and that's going to lose him so much time as he rejoins the track here. Micheluzzi makes light work of that round the outside, and Jorge with the chance to go into P6 now falls down to P9 with still gravel on his tyres. Vettel will look to try and take full advantage of this.
Yeah, Bjorn as well is on the back of Volokongan. I thought he was actually going to try and get the move done down in towards turn 6. Volokongan now really beginning to struggle for the TNR team. He's actually made a mistake, I think, on this lap, because he's dropped 1.6 seconds roughly to Johan. It was 5/10 a second the last time I looked, but Bjorn on the back of Volokongan. I don't think he's going to be close enough down towards turn 13. Yeah, he's not going to be close enough at all. But Jorge Mir went too deep. He did everything right. He got the move done. He just forgot to brake it for turn 4, which is a shame. Or turn 3 even.
I think he braked at the point where you don't need DRS4 rather than when you do. So he obviously braked too late and locked up and now braked himself, and unfortunately that's put him down the order into the clutches of Vettel. Lucas Serra again getting a little bit wayward on the exit of 16. He is really dicing with that setup right now, because right now he's in 5th place, really attacking the car. He knows there's a podium on the cards here now, and he'll push like anything.
Yeah, here comes Bjorn as well on the back of Volokongan. Volokongan is a sitting duck. Here comes Bjorn down the inside. What a move by the Leonis, man. How he got that car stopped is absolutely beyond me. Lucas Serra follows through. Bit of hard hitting, but Lucas Serra's through as well. Volokongan loses 2 positions in one go. Bjorn really made that one stick, and Lucas Serra just followed him through and said, you know what, I'm coming through with you on a fresh set of medium. He could be on for podium.
Absolutely.
But he's got a lot of penalties.
Well, yeah, Bjorn made the work there, and Lucas Serra said, you know what, I'm just going to reap what you sow here, as he now makes his way in towards turn 10, right on the back of Bjorn here. Lucas Serra, obviously a huge opportunity for a podium here, as he now makes his way in towards 11 and 12. As he cuts across the curve and gets himself that 3-second time penalty. But here he is with that DRS looking to go round the outside there in towards 13. And I tell you what, Bjorn did not make that easy on the blood pressure, but he's got the move done. Meanwhile, Jorge Mir is battling away with Michalizzi. He's now up to 8th place and now looks to try and chase down the next car, which is Nathan. But it's a lovely pack forming in the midfield. Volokongan, meanwhile, on the back of Bjorn now as we head away down the start-finish straight. Lap 24 of this race, Javi Vera leading by 8.5 seconds with 5 laps to go. You can see there, that's Pasti there actually having a look down the inside into 1, but obviously it's not really an overtaking opportunity unless you're really side by side. Speaking of side by side, we could see it. Volokongan launching it, but he's locked up too much. He's braked too late this time around. He obviously now into the gravel trap there, and unfortunately for him, he just tried to be a little bit too optimistic, brake a little bit too late, and once you do that, you lock up the tyres, and that is no chance of stopping that car. I think he's rejoined all the way down in 11th place.
Yeah, he hasn't lost in comparison, he hasn't lost too much time to what I was actually expecting, because I honestly thought it was like Gutierrez Alonso, where obviously the brakes failed for Alonso, he got caught on the grass. Pretty much like that, but down the inside, completely missed his braking point at the 50-metre board. Pasti now on the back of Bjorn. Is my prediction for 3rd position coming right?
Well, I don't know, because Pasti is on the hard tyres, remember. Lucas Serra's on the mediums, and he's already 3 seconds ahead of Pasti in those podium positions. We're going to have a penalty update soon, hopefully. Meanwhile, Mickey is up the inside of Volokongan, and they've come together at turn 13. That's such a bizarre place to come together. But they both reverse out of it and back onto the track here. And I wonder if it's going to be a little bit of a race to the pit lane there. Volokongan lets him go. I think that's a bizarre one. It just almost looked like there was just no space between them. But both of them were just not giving up on that one. I couldn't see which way that went. Nathan, meanwhile, breezes past Pasti there as we make our way in towards turn 3. And Nathan now up to 5th place.
Yeah, Nathan, Pasti's actually nearly lost it on the curb. Just saying that coming through turn 3. But Nathan really liking this now. He's on a set of medium Commentators. I said early on in the race he might be one to watch. He was 10th at that time I said that. He's now up to 5th, so he's duplicated his result pretty much out on track. Javi Vera does lead Johan 2nd, Nathan and Lucas Serra in 3rd, even Bjorn in 4th, Nathan in 5th. What I'll do is I'll have a run down the penalties and I'll hand the commentary back over to you.
Well, absolutely. Javi Vera now in the lead by 9 seconds ahead of Johan here. But of course, those penalties will add up for all of the drivers across the field. Nathan, meanwhile, is trying to close in on Bjorn. But Bjorn here on the hard tyres looking like he's got a little bit more pace. Maybe Nathan's lap has not been the best. Meanwhile, Vettel here looks down the inside of Michalizzi. No such move exists. The door was not open. Riding aboard with the TTG Esports driver, trying to chase down Michalizzi here in the FRL car, making our way through. Of course, Michalizzi now the only FRL car left in this race, as we lost Shapalele very early on in this one. 4 laps to go, and Javi Vera leads the way, and he looks comfortable out there. 9.1 the gap.
Yeah, 9.1 the gap, and it's even more comfortable because he's only got 2 warnings out on track, and he has made that one stop work. Johan has got 1 penalty. Lucas Serra has got 3 penalties, and you know what? I thought he picked up more than that, but he's got a 5-second time penalty, which I think he served in the pit lane, so he might only have 6. Johan has got 2 warnings, with Nathan having 1 penalty. Going to run through the top 10, by the way. Pasti with a penalty, Gamer with 2 penalties, Michalizzi with 2 penalties, Vettel with 2 5-second time penalties, one of them might be added on at the end, Chris Rock with a penalty, and that was the top 10.
Well, remember those 5-second stop-go penalties, they're interesting because I don't know, you can serve them under a virtual safety car. but it's beyond me if you can serve them under a safety car, a physical safety car. So we'll have to see how it shuffles about the order there and then. Meanwhile, Vettel gets the move done now on Michelizzi and now moves up into 8th place. Nice move down in towards turn 13.
Michelizzi's not making it easy for him though. He looked like he was going to come back there through turn 14. Chris Rocket might be the one that is interested in all of this as well. He has got a double toe possibly on the back, but it looks like he's actually dropping off the back of these two, so it looks like it could be that fight for Vettel and Michelizzi, 8th and 9th. Nathan, by the way, don't think he's going to be close up down towards turn 3. His opportunity will come later on in the lap, but a possible four-way battle for 4th certainly developing out on track.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just having a look here because Lucas Serra and obviously Jorge Mir are on the same team. Right now, 3rd place and 7th place gets you 34 points. So they could be leaving this race the leaders of the Esports Masters League. That just shows you how important it is that the team does well. It is a team sport, this one. Both of your drivers have to do well. And right now, they're doing a fantastic job out there.
They are doing a fantastic job out there. Of course, for F1 Trends Cup is the team that they are associated with. So they're doing a fantastic job for that team. Currently all theoretical and all will be dependent on penalties. Like Jorge Mir's just picked up a 3-second time penalty. He's trying to get onto the back. Nathan is on the back of Bjorn as well, not close enough. My TV was going to turn off there, so I had to rush to try and not get it to turn off. But Jorge Mir on the back capacity. Two battles now beginning to develop. 4th and 5th, 6th and 7th, I think. This group now beginning to split up.
Absolutely, but that's Nathan having a big moment of oversteer there as we now make our way now down towards turn 1 once again onto the penultimate lap of this race. And as it stands, it's looking like a comfortable victory for Javi Vera, but of course it's not a Drivers' Championship, this one. It is strictly a Constructors, a Teams Championship. Meanwhile, that is Jorge Mir trying to go up the inside there. He can't do that because he's lost the back end. I thought that was his race in the wall there. He's got away with that one, but a late move up the inside. It's almost like I was his team manager there. Why are you going for moves like that?
Yeah, trying to go for a gap that was always going to shut, to be honest, and Jorge Mir could have just cost his own team a possible net lead in the event. So it should have been, and now he's going to be under pressure from Vettel and behind. So Vettel might gain the position of Jorge Mir. It's all going to be really dependent on penalties though.
Yeah, absolutely. So dependent on them as you now make our way in towards turn 11 and 12 with Bjorn. Nathan, meanwhile, has recovered from that mistake he made earlier on and is looking to try and just close in onto the car ahead. Bjorn trying to hold on to 4th place as much as he possibly can as we now make our way through. Meanwhile, Javi Vera, we haven't seen much of him since that 3rd safety car, but he is still in the lead of this race by 9 seconds and has started the final lap of this race. Johan there is in 2nd place. Again, 9 seconds behind the race leader, but 3 seconds ahead of Lucas Serra. And there is Pasti right on the back of Nathan. Surely not a move into turn 1. This will be a setup into 3.
Into the back of him.
Yeah, runs into the back of him slightly there, but now he'll try and focus on the exit. This is where Nathan's tyres will not be in the greatest nick. He defends hard to the inside there. Will Pasti go for a move? No, he can't. Down in towards turn 3 there. It's a real scrap of a battle because Pasti looking for a move round the outside in towards turn 5. No way through for him, but they're not going to stop scrapping here as they make their way through turn 5. Onwards now towards turns 6 and 7. Pasti still right on the back of Nathan, making sure he's not going away whatsoever. In towards turn 8, and Javi there just picks up a 3-second time penalty on the final lap. I don't think he'll be too concerned about it because now that's only a 5.4 second gap. I think Javi Vera will just try and cruise towards the finish line. You can see him there in the final couple of corners. We'll cut away from that battle for 4th place to bring you the race winner here, making his way in through the final couple of corners. It is going to be Javi Vera who wins the race for S2V. Fantastic drive from him. He kept his cool and kept his eye on it and just goes beyond that checker flag at a snail's pace to enjoy the moment. Johan will cross the line in 2nd place with Lucas Serra crossing the line on track in 3rd place. But meanwhile, this battle for 4th here is raging on. Nathan has got the move done. He's ahead of Bjorn on track. He'll finish ahead on track. But let's see what those penalties do to shuffle up the order. Bjorn in 3rd, Nathan 4th, Lucas Serra in 5th with Vettel in 6th, Pasti in 7th, Michelizzi there in 8th place, Jorge Mir in 9th, and Chris Rock there in 10th place. Just waiting for a couple of drivers now to get towards the checkered flag. Torpedro did rejoin, did he, back into that car? I think he did in the end. Volakongan as well in 13th place. Dantas has taken the checkered flag. He's the last of the runners there. And he will take those points for 14th place, so that's important for the team. Mickey then will come across the line on track in 11th place. In fact, there it is. He comes across the line. Torpedro in 12th, but he's got an unserved penalty added to his name. Volakongan comes across the line to round out the lead lap races. But your winner today for S2V, Javi Vera, takes the win with his teammate somewhere in the wall. Driver of the day for TTG Esports, it's Nathan. If you'd have said at the start of this race there would be 3 safety cars, I would have hardly have believed you. And I wouldn't have believed you even more if you told me they would have happened in the first 11 laps of this race. Nevertheless, we got ourselves a fantastic race in the end, and it is an S2V driver who takes the top spot. But with S2V only with 1 finishing driver across the line, it's going to make a world of difference to that team's championship. In the meantime, though, the top 3 will celebrate away. They've earned it after what has been an arduous race with the safety car at the start. But we got our race in the end, and a fantastic one at that. So your official, unofficial results here for the opening round of the Esports Masters League. Javi Vera takes the win ahead of Johan and Bjorn in 3rd place. Nathan from 14th on the grid finishes in 4th. Great drive from him. Lucas Serra in 5th place with Vettel in 6th. Pasti across the line in 7th. Michalizzi in 8th. Jorge Mer 9th. Chris Rock in 10th. Mickey in 11th. Volakongan in 12th and set the fast lap of the race. No points on offer for that one, but just personal pride on that one. Torpedro, who was drafted in at the very last minute, finishes on the lead lap in 13th place. Dantas in 14th. Connor, Teteru, Jorpa, Nathan, Shapalele didn't make it to the checkered flag under their own power, so that means they will not be classified in the points. So 1st to 14th are the point scorers here tonight. And I have to say, it took a while to get this race started, a little bit of a slow burner, but when it started to burn, it burnt brightly, didn't it, James?
It really did, and I've got to say congratulations to the top 3, to Javi Vera, Johan, and to Bjorn. Nathan obviously getting the driver of the day vote through the game. Who was your driver of the day, though? Who was your team of the day as well? Got to be, for me, I think F1 Trends Cup, because I think they finished 4th and 7th in the end. They're going to take the lead in towards next month, of course, at Vietnam, which will be the 2nd round. It's going to be very fascinating, though. And you never know, we could get different drivers for the next round.
Absolutely, and you never know indeed. But I hope you've enjoyed tonight's action. It has been jam-packed in the end. Like I said, a bit of a slow burner, but once it did get burning, it was a fantastic race to watch, with battling up and down the field. And as we keep saying, this isn't a Drivers' Championship. There is no Drivers' Championship. It is solely a team event. So no individual honours up for grabs. You've got to hope that your teammate does the same job that you do, only slightly worse, because you want to finish ahead of your teammate. Obviously, that's how it works. But anyway, make sure as well to follow the league on Twitter as well, which hopefully will be on the screen right now, so you don't miss the next round next month. That is at EML_F1. That will also be hopefully in the description down below. Speaking of descriptions, if you like the commentary team, myself, Kieran McGinley and James Head, both our Twitters are down in the links below. I would obviously tell you what my Twitter is, but that would involve me spelling it out and we'd be here all night. But obviously, next round, Vietnam, next month, so make sure you go and follow Esports Masters League on Twitter so you don't miss out on the next race. It will be at the same time. The league below will be at 7 o'clock and the Masters League will be at 8:30. At that point, it should still be BST, will it? I'm having a think. Yes, it will.
Yeah.
Yes, it will. It will be the month after. It will be GMT. Yeah, I've got to get that.
Yeah.
Figured out. But anyway, make sure you as well follow the or subscribe, I should say, to the YouTube channel. Hit the notification bell so you're notified every time the channel goes live. And of course, tomorrow night, do stick around with us if you're interested for TT Masters League Division 2 and Division 3. We'll be going to the Canadian Grand Prix. Well, James, I have to say, what a race in the end.
Yeah, fantastic race. Obviously great to see some of the new teams getting involved, as well as our old favourites here within the Esports Masters League. It's been fantastic to commentate alongside you, Kieran. Can't wait to do it again next month. But if you want more action, tune in tomorrow for Division 2, where one of us is going to be out on track. The other is going to be commentating. Guess it, you'll find out tomorrow who that is.
I can't imagine how that's going to go down at all. So make sure you do tune in. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, notification bell, and follow all the links down in the description below. And until next time, thank you very much for watching. I've been Kieran McGinley.
I've been James Head.
Take care of yourselves, and we will see you next time.
Seeing monsters at your window. No, you can't sleep, you pretend though. You don't have to play the hero. Cause I got you like you got me. When the earth shakes, when the bombs scream. Until our last breath, every heartbeat. When your nightmares turn to real life and the ground's filled up with landmines, we will face it standing side by side. You know I'll come running when you need. I'm coming. You know I'll come running. You go to war, then I'm going with you. Pick up my sword, yeah, there's nothing I won't do. When you sound the alarm and the chaos is rising, leading the charge, yeah, I'm coming, I'm fighting. Swear on the breath that I breathe, I'll never retreat, yeah, I'll be your army. If you go to war, then I'm going with you. Pick up my sword, yeah, there's nothing